In the King James Bible, there are archaic words, but can I say to you that archaic words are not always a huge problem? For example, there are many words that are archaic but are still understandable. Here's a word I would like to give to you. This word is found in Jeremiah 38:12. The word is armhole, and it's a reference to a garment. It means exactly what it sounds like to mean. The word itself is not in use, but it's a compound word of two words that are still in use, armhole. And they put it together and make it one word, armhole, and it's referring to something that we can figure out quite easily. There are similar forms of verbs ending in ETH. Now, I know this gives people problems. When you're reading a verb that ends in ETH, it's generally an archaic word, but they're often forms of familiar words. For example, believeth. Everyone listening to the sound of my voice understands the word believe. You know what believe means. So you add ETH to it, you still understand what believeth means. Standeth, speaketh, striketh, killeth, stinketh, etc. These are all archaisms, have an old-fashioned flair to them, but we don't have to update that to explain it, to make the Bible more understandable. And I find it interesting that the children of our culture have no problem reading about a hobbit or some other constructed word that comes out of the Lord of the Rings or out of Harry Potter series. Many, many more words and many more construct words, and these kids learn these words and assimilate these words into their conversation, and no one has a problem with that. In the NIV, let me give you some of the words they use that are archaic words. Nephilim, Nubians, innumerable. In the NASB, words like begone, confounded, armlets. I found it interesting some time ago. I was looking in the book of Daniel, and I read in the King James Bible how that Daniel was preferred above the princes of Babylon. I looked in the New King James Version to see what it said there, and the New King James Version said, now this Daniel was preferred above the satraps in Babylon. And I thought to myself, I don't know what satraps are. I thought the idea of the New King James Version was to make it more understandable, to update the language. So I went to the dictionary to look up what satraps were, and lo and behold, satraps means Babylonian princes. So why not just stick with the King James Version? Why go to the NKJV? It makes no sense. All these people that are hollering about archaic words, and they've updated the language, so to speak, have not improved any of those most of those words. In fact, most of the things that these new Bibles will do is take off the ETH, which is not really even a problem. It doesn't cause it's not a learning issue anyway. What do we do about these archaic words? Can I say to you a couple of things? First of all, I suggest you learn what they mean. Some of the things I do and teach, I have to learn. I teach ethics. I've taught ethics for police officers. And so when I began teaching police officers ethics, I had to go and do some research and learn terminologies that I was not familiar with. What people would like us to do is dumb down the Bible to a point that it will not expand or help you to understand or increase your vocabulary at all. And the truth is, there are concepts in the Bible that are hard to be understood, and dumbing down the language isn't going to fix that problem. When Tyndale and some of the others were trying to translate the Bible from the original tongues to the English language, they found so much trouble. In some cases, they found no words at all that adequately expressed the word, and so they would create a word. For example, you're familiar with the word atonement. That is literally a compound word Tyndale made up. He made it out of these words, at one meant. At one meant was a suffix. He made those two words, compounded them together, created the word atonement, because there was no concept of atonement in our language. What do you do in that case? Do you find another word? There is no other word to explain atonement. You can't do it. So what do you have to do? You have to learn what that word means.